Straight talk from Israel. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
Hi, I'm Howie Silberger. This is Political Hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. Thank you so much for joining me. The numbers to call in on the show, since it's a live show, the numbers to call are found on the top of the page on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. While you're there, you could click on that Listen Live chat room button and join me in the chat room on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. So it is the week of Yom Haatzmaut. It is the week that we celebrate the 72nd birthday of the State of Israel. And to me, it's a quandary. It's a quandary. I have a problem with it. The problem I have with celebrating the State of Israel, it's actually, I'm in two heads with this. And as you can hear, I'm struggling to find my words on how I want to explain this. The first problem I have with it is that, let's not look at the problems yet. Let's just look at the good part. Let's look at the plus. Yes, celebrating Herzl's dream of Jewish independence and the Jewish way of Jews controlling Jews, Jews governing Jews, Jews not living under the oppressive thumb of some other nation that wants to oppress or destroy the Jewish people. That, I say, we should celebrate 100%. My issue with the State of Israel and the celebrations of Yom Haatzmaut in the State of Israel stem more towards the idea that the State of Israel is not very, very receptive of Judaism. That the State of Israel doesn't represent Judaism, and as an Orthodox Jew, as a Jew, I could say yes, State of Israel, a state of Jews. Jews live there. Jewish self-autonomy, beautiful, wonderful. Let's celebrate that. But as an Orthodox Jew, I sometimes have to wonder if celebrating the State of Israel is the appropriate thing, knowing that Israel is not that supportive of Orthodox Judaism, or at least most segments of Israel are not supportive of Orthodox Judaism. So this is where my quandary is. Do we celebrate the fact that Jews have a place to go where you could be under Jewish autonomy and Jewish protection? Yes, we do. We must celebrate that, and every Jew of every stripe should be celebrating that. But at the same time, I'm wondering, do we celebrate this even though Judaism as a religion is downplayed in the state? That is my quandary. And I want to hear what you have to say. It's a live show, so I figured that you could call in and we could talk about it, and you could figure out, and we could figure this out together. You get the numbers. I was going to give you the numbers, but I'm not going to bother giving you the numbers. You can get the numbers by going to the top of the page on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. And while you're there on the top of that page, click on that listen button and the chat room button. Join me in the chat room. I'm Howie Silberger. This is Political Hitman. And we are heard live right here on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.
Always challenging the status quo. Hello, I'm Rod Bryant on Beyond the Matrix here at IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. I want to encourage you to listen each week, every Wednesday at the same time, for an amazing show that will challenge you, inform you, and inspire. News, views, and wisdom for the nations here on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. Don't forget, Beyond the Matrix every week, Wednesday, here on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.
Be biblical.
Be beautiful.
Wear your crown.
Wrapping is my crown.
Do what married Jewish women have been doing for thousands of years. Celebrate the art of head wrapping. I'm Andrea Grinberg from Rapunzel.com. We have beautiful scarves, stunning accessories, scarves for faith, scarves for healing, and scarves for fun. Rapunzel.com. That's Rapunzel with a W. Or click on our banner on the Israel News Talk Radio homepage.
Rapunzel.com. Beautiful scarves, stunning accessories paired with tutorials, support, and a vibrant community to give you everything you need to start and perfect your head covering journey.
Don't forget, join the Rapunzel community group on Facebook to see, learn, and share your beautiful wraps. That's Rapunzel with a W on Facebook.
I love Rapunzel.
I love Rapunzel.
I love Rapunzel.
Get 10% off your purchase with promo code RADIO. Go now to Rapunzel.com.
Political Hitman. I'm Howie Silberger, your political hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. you could get in on the conversation. I really appreciate you if you do. In North America, number 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number 0265000151. Those numbers could be found on the top of the page on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. They're right there on the top of the page. And if you go to the top of the page, you'll see those numbers, and you'll see a listen now and chat room button. If you click on that, you could join me in the chat room on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. So Yom Haatzmaut is upon us. We celebrate the creation of the modern day state of Israel. We of course know that right now the modern day state of Israel is 72 years old, but we know that Israel is thousands of years old, 3,000 years old, and it's our Jewish birthright. We are the indigenous people of the land of Israel. I've been watching, I've been looking, and I've been listening to commentaries, and I've been talking to people, many people who don't necessarily support the modern day state of Israel, and I find it fascinating, just absolutely fascinating, and quite scary, if you ask me, about how some of these people twist and turn the facts to try to make the state of Israel, the current state of Israel, look bad. And I find it fascinating how the BDS movement, the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanction movement, which is essentially just a military movement trying to destroy the state from the inside out rather than from the outside in, how this movement has gained popularity amongst the lefties living around the world, and has gained some kind of credibility, even though it's built on a lie. This is what fascinates me, is that in our hypersensitive world, in our world where everybody's concerned about every syllable that comes out of anybody's mouth, how everybody's concerned about every word written on Facebook, written on Twitter, written on Instagram, every single syllable is scrutinized, that people who lie about the state of Israel seem to get away with it. It shocks me. It doesn't, shock may be too strong of a word, because I kind of expect it. Israel has been a scapegoat for the world for the last 72 years, as the Jews have been a scapegoat to the world for the last 3,000 years. So I understand. I understand where it's coming from. I just find it interesting and really perplexing, really confusing, that the entire world, well, at least the so-called intelligentsia of the entire world, really believes this stuff, which of course isn't true. There is a video, by the way. If you go to YouTube, there is a video of Omar Barghouti. He is the founder of the BDS movement. He is the guy who started the whole nonsense. Of him stating that the stated goal of BDS is to destroy the state of Israel internally. That has nothing to do with human rights or with any of the other claims that BDS people put forward. The stated goal of the movement is the destruction of the state of Israel internally, because it couldn't be destroyed externally. Fascinating stuff. If you want to watch it, if you want to believe it, if you want to do the actual research, but many people don't want to do that kind of research. But here we are celebrating. I mean, it's a full week celebration. It's a celebration of Israel's independence, and you have to wonder: is it appropriate? Is it appropriate to celebrate? I think it is appropriate to celebrate, but is it appropriate to continue fighting against these haters, knowing that you're legitimately right? Do you still fight? Do you still go out and you still battle? We're celebrating Israel's independence. Israel decided 72 years ago, the founders of the state of Israel, the people who built the state, the people who fought and risked their lives to create a state, weren't the most necessarily religious Jews. They weren't religious at all. And they decided to have a Jewish secular state, which is kind of an interesting way to do it. And a state with Jewish traditions, but not really with God, which is interesting. Fascinating, if you ask me. I think that many of the people in the state of Israel believe in God, and most of the people in the state of Israel, according to recent statistics actually, visit a synagogue at least 2 or 3 times a year. But the the idea of Israel being a Jewish state or a state of Jews is the concept I'm struggle with, and I struggle with all the time. I've written extensively on this topic, and it always comes up. It always comes to my mind as an Orthodox Jew, and looking at the state of Israel and their relationship with Jews, Orthodox Jews, and with Judaism as a religion. Is that something to celebrate? We celebrate our independence. We celebrate the freedom of the Jewish people to live out Herzl's dream of an independent entity where Jews could govern themselves and not be subjected to the whims of slave masters that have governed them before. And I respect Herzl's vision. Der Judenstaat was an interesting book. I read it, a very interesting book, where he outlines the whole idea of after the Dreyfus trial in France. He didn't want to see that kind of anti-Jewism ever again, and so he felt that Jewish self-autonomy, a country where Jews could govern themselves, would stop that kind of persecution of the Jewish people. And so I can respect that, and I respect the fact that Israel has become a Jewish haven, a safe haven for the Jews, and Israel has become a beacon for people who are persecuted, for people who want to get back to the roots, and for people who want to reclaim their indigenous lands. I get all that, and I get the whole Zionist dream. I understand it all. I really do understand it. But at the same time, as every Jewish celebration, we celebrate and we're happy, and there always has to be some little mar in the celebration. So at a wedding, we step on a glass, we break a glass, so that we remember the destruction of the temple. So there's a little mar in the wedding. So it's not all celebration. So while we celebrate Jewish autonomy and the fact that Jews have a country of their own, we're back in our indigenous homeland. We are back celebrating and enjoying the leadership, Jewish leadership over the Jewish people. There has to be a little mar in the celebration, and a little mar in the celebration is the fact that religion is downplayed in the state, and it should be upplayed. In my opinion, the state should be a lot more religious than it is, and the fact that it's downplayed is a mar on the state. That's the way I see it. Now, I know a lot of people will disagree with me. I know a lot of people will say, "Howie, what are you talking about?" But after so many years of Jewish leadership shunning Judaism, or using Judaism for political gains and for political goals, we'll fund your yeshiva if you support our political party. Well, this meeting is very important, so we'll meet on Yom Kippur. It's not a problem. The kind of give and take and back and forth when it comes to religion and the state bothers me a lot. So while we celebrate, and I say we should celebrate, of course we should, Jewish autonomy, a Jewish army protecting the Jewish people, the great state of Israel, a state where every Jew should move back to, because it is our indigenous homeland. It is our homeland, is where we should be. So the state of Israel, where Jews should be living, I just wish the state of Israel would respect the Jewish religion a little more. But then again, I wish the Jews would respect the Jewish religion a little more. So that goes hand in hand with a lot of stuff I've been talking about for a while, where we have one state where we're proud. We're extremely proud of the accomplishment of the Jewish people, and on the other hand, we are extremely self-destructive. We have killed more Jews through intermarriage. We have killed more Jews through assimilation than any of our oppressors have ever dreamt of killing, and that's really the problem. Now, is the solution to that problem? I mean, that's the diaspora problem. Is the solution to that problem moving to the state of Israel and living in the state of Israel? That's quite possible. Quite possible that the more Jews hang out with each other, the more Jews live together, the more more apt we are to meet people of our religion and of our tribe, and marry people of our tribe. So that's quite possible, and it is actually probable. Don't forget, we're guests in the diaspora. In Israel, we're home. So there's a difference there. So yes, we have to celebrate. And this is a struggle. To celebrate, not to celebrate a little bit, to be happy a lot. What do you think? Give me a call. This is a live show, so give me a call. The numbers are on the top of the page on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. You could comment in the chat room. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you think, because to me it's a dichotomy. Here we have one point where we should be celebrating. We should be grateful to the victory. This is why we have Yom HaZikaron just before Yom Haatzmaut, because we remember the people who fought to give us the freedom in Israel. And on the other hand, there's that little problem of religion. So it's a dichotomy for me. Is it the same dichotomy for you? I know most people are going to argue that it's not, and I can appreciate your argument. I respect your opinion. So give me a call. The numbers are on the top of the page on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com. You could join me in the chat room by going to IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com and clicking on that Listen Now chat room button, and then just joining the chat room. You could talk to me in the chat room. It is an ongoing dilemma in my brain, and it's been an ongoing dilemma for years. And every Yom Haatzmaut, I think about this, and I wonder if we are looking at this, if I'm looking at this in the right direction, if I'm thinking about this in the right way. I really, really want to hear what you have to say. I'm Howie Stolberger. This is Political Hitman on Israel News Talk Radio.
Shalom, everybody. Making a difference often takes just one moment and one person at a time. I am Orly Benny Davis, your show host on Israel News Talk Radios from Jerusalem with love. You'll be hearing people talking about politics, religion, social issues, and making a better tomorrow. Join me, Orly Benny Davis, for God and Country. From Jerusalem with love.
Wednesdays on Israel News Talk Radio.
Political Hitman. I'm Howie Silverger. This is Political Hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. The question I have for you is: do we celebrate Yom Haatzmaut? Are we supposed to be happy on Yom Haatzmaut? Is this something that we should be thrilled about? My argument is that Israel has, historically, forgotten the religious people, has not really been so gung-ho about celebrating Judaism. I understand the concept of celebrating Jewish independence. I understand the concept of celebrating Herzl's dream, but to me that comes with religion, and I feel that the state has kind of dropped the ball on that. So I want to know what you have to say. Give me a call. In North America, the number is 301-768-4841. In Israel, the number is 02-65-00151. You could call in. You could join me in the chat room by going to IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com and clicking on that Listen Live chat room button. It's right there. I know Israelis, people living in Israel, are going to disagree with me. And say, listen, Howie, religion is what you make of it, and you can't expect a government that has to deal with countries around the world, that has to deal with all sorts of crisis all the time. You can't expect these people to live under the rule of God and to live under the traditions of the Jewish people. They have to be able to navigate, and they have to be able to work with other people in the world. And sometimes that doesn't fit into the Jewish schedule. And my argument to that, my answer to that, and I know I'm arguing with myself, but my answer to that would be, wait a second, then why call yourself a Jewish state? So you have to make a decision. If you're going to be a Jewish state, I'm not saying you have to be a religious state, but at least respect religion, respect at least basic Jewish tradition, and be a state that respects Jewish tradition. Or you could be just a state of Jews, a secular state of Jews, and that's fine too, whichever direction. If Israel claimed it was a secular state of Jews, if they claimed that religion really has nothing to do with the state is the state, then I would say let's celebrate, yes, Jewish independence. a state of Jews with Jewish autonomy, I'd have no problem with that. Because Israel declared themselves a Jewish state, that adds religion to it, in my opinion. What do you say? Give me a call. In North America, 301-768-4841. In Israel, 0265-00151. I want to bring Tamar Yona into this. I really do, because I know she probably disagrees with me. Tamar, do you disagree with me?
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
You're going to be sorry that you put me on your show. I do. I disagree with you.
I'm never sorry for bringing you onto my show. Never.
I do. I disagree with you. I was watching the ceremony last night on television where we go from Yom HaZikaron, which is Israel's Memorial Day for its fallen, and then it goes into the celebrations of Israel's Independence Day. And the hosts that were on the stage for the ceremony were not religious. They, in fact, the woman that on stage was she was an Ethiopian Jew, so you have a black Jewish woman on there, with her cleavage showing. So she's definitely not a religious woman, and they're talking about Torah. They were reciting some phrases from the Torah, and they were talking about Ahavat Yisrael, which is loving your fellow Jew, and they were talking about whether you are of this, whether you're religious or not religious, or this or that. We all are brothers. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony.
How many years how many years in the past have you seen ceremonies where they invoked God?
I'm trying to remember. I think all the time. In fact, it's interesting because when they have one of the parts of the ceremony is that they have 12 different citizens from Israel who are being known for doing prestigious things. Maybe they started some volunteer organizations and they've done wonderful things. And in fact, one of them is the mother who lit the torch yesterday. She's the mother of a boy who is engaged to my niece. So, everything's like family here, right? She's a doctor that does research in infectious diseases. She's a professor, and she went up and lit. But they have 12 people who go and they light torches. Now, the question is, why 12? Because they're talking, it represents the 12 tribes of Israel, and showing that's the citizenry of Israel, just like the 12 tribes of Israel are part of the nation of Israel, the Jewish people, and we represent the 12 tribes of Israel, and each one is different. It's absolutely a gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful thing.
I could be wrong. It is possible that I am wrong.
And we have a caller. Do you want to take a caller?
Sure, why not?
Okay, so let's get the caller in. And caller, hi, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you two doing tonight? This is Larry in Kansas.
Hey, Larry, how's it going? Larry, do you hear me?
Hi, Larry, do you hear us?
It's bad phone connection on my end. It's not you. I just wanted to say that all this diversity and everything in religion, you would think that it would make religion in general stronger, but I'm a little disillusioned with it right now, and I take a kind of a cynical view, and I think religion is kind of on the wane right now. In fact, I think Western civilization is too. And I don't know, I see things getting darker and darker in the future, and the evangelicals here in Kansas have more faith in Israel and the outcome in Israel than they do in the United States right now, I can tell you that. That may sound peculiar, but that's the way I read them here, and I don't know what to think of it, but I think we're entering into a dark ages period, and it won't be the Catholic Church that'll go underground and reappear at a later date and bring civilization back, but it might be Orthodox Judaism. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's an interesting thought. I like that thought. I've been predicting, and I know a lot of sociologists. I'm not a sociologist, but a lot of sociologists have been predicting that within the next 100 years, Orthodox Judaism is going to be the only Jews left in North America. The secular the Jews in North America are assimilating at a rate that's unsustainable. and the conservative movement in North America is pretty much dead. So the Reform movement has removed itself from Judaism. So
it's not even Jewish now.
Yeah. So the only ones left, the only ones that are going to be left are going to be the Orthodox Jews or the non-affiliated Jews that still somehow I know I just said non-affiliated, but still somehow connect themselves to Judaism. So that's or identify as Jews. That'll be the only thing left in North America. So North American Jewish community is dead, in my opinion.
The unaffiliated Jews that I know, including myself, Orthodoxy is more appealing to me at this point than conservative Reconstructionism or Reform Judaism. I can tell you that.
There's
I
only
don't
so much.
fit into any of it very well, but that's
There's
what
only
I'm
so much
interested
water
in.
you could throw on something before you drown it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happened to conservatism. Is they threw so much water into it, and they watered it down. They watered down Judaism so much that there was nothing left. Reformism just created their own religion. They're a Jewish themed religion, much like Christianity was at the beginning, but they're not Judaism. So here we are, right? What's left?
That's what I see, and this evangelical movement in this country, and I don't know what evangelicals are up to in Europe or the rest of the world, but in the Midwest, I can tell you they're very devout and they're very sincere, and like I say, they look to Orthodoxy in Judaism for direction at this point. They're highly interested in Judaism in general, and the more they get educated and informed, the more they point towards Orthodoxy.
But Larry, you know that the end goal.
Thing.
You know, Larry, you know the end goal of the evangelical movement. Their reason for their support of Israel, and the reason for their support of Jews moving back to Israel.
They're proselytizing. That's what they're doing. But I don't know.
Well, aside from that, the Book of Revelation says that once all Jews move back to Israel, it's the second coming, right? So you have our Armageddon.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's in their best interest to encourage Jews to move to Israel.
Well, like I say, I don't know, and Noahides, I don't know what to think about them. I know there are plenty of them there, and they're very strong in their feelings, and they are what they are, and I can't define them at all. I don't really know any of them anyway, and I think that's the same thing with them, isn't it? The ingathering.
Yeah, because a lot of these evangelical groups, the evangelical Christians, the Hebrew Christians, the J Witnesses, they all have the same end goal. The end goal is the gathering of the Jews in Israel, so that the three horsemen from the apocalypse could come down from the mountain and enter the old city and bring in Armageddon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't run with that crowd, so I don't know, and I'm not affected that much by them, but I see them as part of the game at this point, and I guess I don't want to say that, but they're useful, and I was going to say the other word with it, but I'm not going to say that. So.
They are
anyway.
They are the only non-Jewish
group. It's nice
group.
to hear your voice again.
It's nice to be on again. They are the only non-Jewish groups basically supporting the state of Israel, vehemently supporting the state of Israel, more than Jewish groups in some cases in North America. So it's nice to see that.
Did you notice the problem in New York City today with Mayor de Blasio and I think probably ultra-Orthodox?
Well, look, in Williams...
A rabbi passed away today, and there was a large funeral, a really large funeral, and of course there was no social distancing. And so Mayor de Blasio said he's going to put the police on him. He's not going to put up with that. So
and he did.
Anyway,
and he did put the police on them, and the police made arrests. Look, we're in a time of social distancing. We're in a time where health trumps.
You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
This is Shai Bentako, and each week I'll be webcasting to you from Judea, origin of the word Jew, a people besieged and beleaguered in every generation. Nazi Germany's but a memory, but in its place the world invented the phantom Palestinians as this generation's internationally authorized Jew killers. Tune in for a different slant on life in Israel, Phantom Nation, every Monday.
Hi, I'm Rabbi David Aaron. The soul basics are the most profound, the most essential, and yet often the most neglected in our education. Join me for Soul Talk on Israel's News Talk Radio and discover the secrets to love, spiritual growth, and personal power.
political hitman. I'm Howie Silberger, your political hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. Well, that conversation with Larry. Larry's still on from Kansas. That conversation with Larry was so interesting that we weren't paying attention to the clock and we got cut off. So I kept Larry on because I was intrigued by the conversation. I was so engrossed in the conversation I wasn't watching the clock. So I apologize for cutting off the conversation, but we will continue it now because Larry's still here. Larry, you're still there, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, so we were talking about Williamsburg and the large funeral gathering in Williamsburg, where Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York, sent the police to break it up. And I was just saying that I really feel, I really think that Orthodox Jews and all people, but in this case the Orthodox Jews that had the funeral, should be respecting social distancing. Health comes before anything else, before funerals, before prayer, before anything else, and we should be watching. And we should be watching out for the health of everybody. And by gathering like that, hundreds of people gathering together, they have the danger of spreading this disease to people who might be susceptible to it, and then potentially killing somebody. And especially in New York, where the outbreak has been the highest in the United States, it was just a dumb idea to meet like that.
I think probably it was a little provocative, and I'm not going to criticize, because when people are devout, they're devout, and people are willing to give their lives, directly.
Okay, but Larry, I agree. If you want to give your life, Larry, if you want to give your life because you're devout, that's your prerogative. But don't take the life of somebody else. And in this case here, by meeting like that, they're potentially taking the life of somebody else. They're not giving their lives.
Oh no, that's true. That's true. They're endangering a lot of other innocent people who don't even understand what's going on. It's like not vaccinating your children. I hear a lot of that anti-vaccination nonsense going around too. But once again, who am I to say?
Okay, fine. But then once again, if you don't vaccinate your children, you're putting yourself and your family in danger, but you're also putting everybody around you in danger. Sometimes we have to think about the greater good, right?
I do. That's what I think.
Good.
But I can tell you one thing: you get into an argument with people over vaccinations, and you're just beating your head against the wall. You may as well read a book or do something else.
That is true. Larry, let me ask you about Israel Independence Day. Do you celebrate? How do you celebrate it?
By listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
That's the best way to do it. I can't think of a better way.
Well, I can't think of anything else where I live.
Really, there's no
This community
celebration?
where I live is so rural that the people who came here in the 1870s claimed land right after the Civil War. They were all Germans and Bohemians. They're still here. They haven't been into town since 1870. They don't do anything but indulge in groupthink. And, it was kind of like Berlin in the 1920s or something around here. And I don't bother with them anymore, and I certainly don't discuss religion with them. But up until about 10 years ago around here, the quilting parties around here, they were putting swastikas in the quilts when they would make them. The elderly ladies were. They spoke German around here in school until about 30 years ago. So I'm in Germany.
Wow. Well, it must be scary for a Jewish guy in Germany.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
Larry, thank you so much for calling. I do appreciate it.
The people who are here now, I don't know if you believe in being able to spot a Jewish face or not. I've been called a Nazi for saying that, but sometimes I think I can. And then when I see the rest of the family, the relatives, and everybody, quote unquote, looks Jewish, I think that's probably ethnically what they are. But they don't know it, they won't admit it, or something. But there are a lot of shopkeepers, relatives here, descendants from the 1800s, and all the shops here were Jewish-owned at that time. But the ones that are still here are farmers now. But that's a subject you don't dare touch around here, so I don't.
Larry, thank you so much for calling. Hope to hear from you soon again.
Okay, well, you will. Thanks for taking the call, too. Shalom.
Take care, man. Shalom. So, Tamar, how are you celebrating in quarantine, Yom Haatzmaut? Well, what's going on in Israel? How are they celebrating this year?
Well, we're planning a barbecue. I live in a house now. I used to live in the city, but I live in a house now with a backyard. And I have 4 generations living in my house right now, which is wonderful. And that's why I can have 4 generations living here, because we have a house. And for me, it's going to be wonderful. What can I tell you?
Yeah,
I'm one of the lucky ones.
How's the country celebrating? You can't group and you can't meet. So
right. So they're telling everybody to barbecue on their balconies, because people who live in apartments, most of them have a balcony, and they're telling people if you want to barbecue, because it's become like a cultural tradition, that you can go onto your balcony and you can wave. And that's what people have been doing, by the way. Like last night, after the ceremony inaugurating the 72nd Day of Independence for the modern state of Israel, they told everybody to go to your balconies, wave the flag of Israel and sing the national anthem. And then they had drones out and photographing people from all over the country doing that from their balconies. It was very, very beautiful.
That's very cool.
Yeah, they did that also for the other holidays too, when they had like the sirens, for Memorial Day and et cetera, et cetera.
So Israel says that they're going to be lifting some of the restrictions right after Yom Haatzmaut, so this week sometime.
This is correct. A lot of people are very uncomfortable about that. Some people are extremely happy. Some people are very uncomfortable because they don't feel like, even sending kids back to school, they're going to be doing it a different way. There's only going to be a few kids going back. They're going to be separating them. They're going to be having to wear masks over the age of 7. Some parents are thinking they're not going to send their kids back if they don't have to, but other parents have to go back to work. And that's basically why, they're doing this. So we'll see.
How long do you think the masks are going to last before Israelis finally say enough of this and start taking them off?
I have no idea. I don't know what to say, but I don't know how to answer that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking about the whole thing. I'm not only thinking about Israelis, I'm thinking about the world. Most of the world is trying to reopen their countries, and reopening their countries means that some of them are legislating masks in public, other ones are suggesting it, they're not legislating it. And I'm just wondering how long people, as human nature,
in Israel, they'll fine you. They fine you approximately $50, 200 shekels, if you're out in any public area without a mask on. If you're in your own yard, that's fine. But if you are going out into public areas, then you have to wear a mask. If not, they'll fine you.
Well, I think wearing a mask is a good idea. I think it doesn't protect you, but at least it protects people around you. If you're carrying the disease, you're not giving it to somebody else.
Right.
And it all fits into the Jewish concept of pikuach nefesh, which is saving a life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think wearing a mask is a great idea.
Yes.
But that you should be doing that during flu season, too. You shouldn't only be doing that now. And washing your hands, you should be washing your hands all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So it got me a little shocked. I was a little shocked when I saw all these signs going up all over the place, instructing people to wash their hands and showing them how to wash their hands. I thought that was innate in humanity, that we washed our hands and took showers and had basic hygiene. I guess I was wrong. It's quite possible.
Yeah, well, we're disinfecting everything. I mean, all the time. Our light switches, our door handles, our doorbell even. We're ordering online. We don't go to the grocery store. We don't leave this house because of my aged parents who live here. So we're being extremely careful.
But if you are living in the house by yourself and nobody's come in, why would you have to disinfect everything in the house? How would the virus get there?
Because you never know. Because even the groceries that come in, we have them leave it outside the door, and then we unpack it with gloves and with we sterilize everything. We disinfect every single item, whether it's tissue, toilet paper, detergent, even fruits and vegetables we take, and we just dump it into a sink full of hot soapy water, and we wash every single thing. Every single can we wipe down. Every single box of cereal we wipe down. Yeah.
That's the smart way to do it. That way you're guaranteeing that the virus doesn't get near you.
As best we can. And I'm doing this, again, because my parents who live with me are in their, my mother's 88, my father's 92. And they are the most, in danger.
And if they weren't living with you, you wouldn't be doing this?
I wouldn't be as crazy. I'm like a woman cleaning for Passover. That's how the crazy mode I am.
I've been ordering online too, but I haven't been that psycho. I haven't disinfected anything. I've taken stuff out of bags and just put it in the closet.
You have to be careful. People pick up things at the grocery store. They look at the price. They put it back. They take another can, and then they wipe their eyes. They wipe their nose. You never know where they've been. You have to really be careful.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that nobody's really coughed or sneezed on the food that I'm getting. I mean, I have to be really unlucky for that to have happened.
They don't need to cough or sneeze. They just need to rub their eye and then pick up the can, look at it, and then put the can down, and then you pick it up. Yeah. Whatever. I'm crazy. I'm a crazy woman.
It's good. It's good.
I
am
a psycho right now. Yes. I'm being very, very careful for my parents. Yeah.
It's good.
Anyway, you only have a minute left.
I do.
Less.
All right, so we had a lot of fun today. Thank you so much. I want to wish all the Israelis who are celebrating Yom Haatzmaut. No, in fact, all the Jewish people around the world celebrating Yom Haatzmaut, a happy Yom Haatzmaut. And if you're listening to this after Yom Haatzmaut, well, this is the whole week. I think Yom Haatzmaut lasts the whole week. So happy Yom Haatzmaut, happy Israeli Independence Day, and 72 years. Let's celebrate for another 3,000. And take this opportunity during your quarantine to look into moving to Israel and making Israel a much stronger country. I'm Howie Silberger. This is Political Hitman here on Israel News Talk Radio. See you next week.
Israel News Talk Radio's chat room. Just click the orange button at the top of the IsraelNewsTalkRadio.home page, log in as yourself or an anonymous guest, and join in on the fun. You'll meet other listeners from all over the world who listen to Israel News Talk Radio, and you can make new friends. Israel News Talk Radio's chat room. It's the closest you can get to being in the studio with us.
We love listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
Where can you get the inside news on Israel? At Israel News Talk Radio, we're dedicated to sharing Israel's inside story with the world by providing our listeners with news on Israeli politics, current affairs, and Israeli Jewish culture. The Israel News Talk Radio homepage also provides you, the listener, with useful information at your fingertips, with scrolling news headlines, weather, currency exchange, Shabbat candlelighting times, and so much more. Our radio programming is always accessible and on demand. We operate absolutely free of charge for everyone, everywhere. If you love what we do, partner with us now by becoming an Israel News Talk Radio supporter. With your support, you'll be inscribed on our Israel News Talk Radio Wall of Fame. There's nothing like us in the world. Be part of something great. Israel News Talk Radio. Straight talk from Israel.
If you love Israel News Talk Radio, then you'll love our Facebook page. We keep you up to date on what's happening in Israel, plus little surprise treasures that we don't share on the radio. Go now to follow us on Facebook. Just look for the Israel News Talk Radio Facebook page, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us by clicking on the like button. We post great stuff there that you'll want to share. Israel News Talk Radio on Facebook and Israel News Radio on Twitter.
News, opinion, and more. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.